Live? All right. Good evening. Thank you for tuning in to the Auburn Board of Health meeting. It is May 12th, 2014. It's 6:10. I'd like to call the meeting to order. First item is to review the agenda, add or remove any items. Anybody see anything they need to add, change, review, dump?
I'm actually going to, the minutes we're actually going to hold for next meeting.
Okay.
Paula did get them done, but they are, actually, I just have to review them.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, so we're going to remove item number 4 off. Anything else?
To my knowledge, that's it.
Okay. So we have 2 bill schedules to approve. First one has to do with Household Hazardous Waste Day. It's for Clean Harbors. So this is the 3 pages on that. We'll start you with that one if you want to take a look at that one. Next one is, we have some POs for, let me see here. We have Cheryl, we have Stonebridge, MHOA, Petty Cash. So we have dessert license, Cheryl. Hazardous Waste Day, Auburn News, and this is MHOA renewal and food protection program. I want to check that one out.
Did you look at this?
Yeah, I didn't take a look at that one already. Kind of low this year, huh?
Yeah, so if I may.
Yeah, if you want to discuss that
So
one.
with the household hazardous waste invoice, actually, we just received that today. I was able to reach out to Clean Harbors for the totals because they had to get all their paperwork in order. So we just got that in today. As you can see, I'm thrilled to report the total is lower than we expected. We had, as you remember, $20,000 set aside for the hazardous waste day, and it's coming in a little over 11,000, so or close to 12. So that is great news.
Yeah, I noticed we had a drop off because every 2 years people are getting used to not having as much stuff hanging around the house.
So that's a good thing. So we'll be able to kind of put that towards our next event and see if we have any other needs this year to get rid of any other waste.
Okay, excellent. Do we have a motion on the bill schedules? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I'm sorry, no.
Okay.
How about we do the first one, the Household Hazardous Waste Day, Clean Harbors.
Move to
Make the motion, we
approve.
accept it.
And I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. How do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. 3-0 to approve the bill schedule for Clean Harbors.
And make a motion to accept the
Regular bill
regular bill schedule as presented.
schedule. Do we have a second?
Second.
How do you vote?
Aye.
Aye.
3-0 to approve the regular bill schedule. There we go. Oh, I didn't take enough time. Still got 2 minutes. Do you want to just give us a quick rundown of Household Hazardous Waste Day, if you had numbers or anything else like that?
Sure. Actually, we're still working on that invoice that you have for hazardous waste. We got the numbers in. I'm trying to see if they can actually quantify all of these individual quantities.
Okay.
On the invoice, there are broken down on the manifest are the amounts. So for example, solvents, 15 55-gallon drums. Aerosols are going to be fibrous drums. There's all different, there's flex bins. FBIN is a flex bin. So they have different, whether or not they're collecting like cans of pesticides or cans of paints. They put them in different, similar, if you will, what it is. So if it's all pesticides, if it's a spray, or if it's a solid, they categorize them, and that's how they quantify what the different amounts are. And then that's what you see are broken down into the unit price. So when we were looking for quotes, obviously we look at these items here. And so I am, I'm happy to see that we have people coming through on a regular basis, so these numbers are probably lower than years past, which is a good thing because it allows us to plan going forward. I do have some pictures that I wanted to just show from the waste day. I can hold off if you'd like.
You can, it's just turns, we can do a
Okay.
couple minutes on this,
All right.
if you want to do it real quick.
So under, for the, let's see if we can go large. Okay, so this was just to show you Allied Waste donated 2 30-yard containers that's set up at the site. This was the beginning, the entrance. We had police presence and as well as CERT. We had numerous CERT people. I think we had close to 7 or 8 CERT people. They moved traffic through the site very well. This was a line of cars going through to the entrance and the electronics area. The Masons had the electronics area. This is actually the picture of where the drop-off happened. So what you see in the background are the technicians in the white Tyvek suits to protect themselves. And you'll see the cars coming through. People were advised to stay in their cars, and the technicians come right over and remove the waste out. This is actually Osterman Gas, Mr. Stake, who has volunteered for every hazardous waste day that we've had. We're very thankful to him for donating his time and for Osterman's for donating their truck there. Mr. Stake is retired from Osterman's, yet he still volunteers for our events. Another picture of Mrs. Stake. This is actually the point where we had actually 3 lanes of traffic that could come down to 1. In the background, we have some CERT members directing traffic, asking people to come through. This is our battery section. This is actually Eileen and one of our DPW workers, Keith. They were able to take car batteries, small batteries, all different. We had a number of different batteries, car charger batteries, you name it, we had it. This is a pickup truck coming through, little levity there. This was Central Mass Mosquito Control. They had a great presence. They took a truckload of tires. Additionally, from the DPW, they took about 40 tires in addition to what the residents brought. They were very helpful. They were able to grab the tires right out of people's vehicles. Again, propane tanks. We had probably about half that truck filled with propane. All the guys were able to get those up easily. That's important calls being made. We have, again, CERT volunteer, and this is Tony.
Tony.
She actually is a senior volunteer in our office. She's helped with all of our flu clinics. She volunteered for this day. She stayed the whole day. She ran our mercury program, so that was a big help. Fire department was able to get rid of a lot of waste. Again, our board members and staff. This is, oh, sorry, I don't know how to make that
You're laying
the
down
right
on the
way.
job.
This is board member Marion and her grandson, who was able to do the clickers to count all the vehicles coming through. This is a portion of the electronics for the Masons area. And this was the site after we cleaned it up. So it was a great day. For the totals, I can tell you for the vehicles, the amounts, we had 345 was our final total.
That's
Because
not
you
bad.
counted 343, we had 2 other vehicles that had waste in them. So 345 was our final total. We're thrilled with that. And it went very smooth, thanks in part to everybody who volunteered. CERT was just, I can't tell you how much they helped through the event, and of course all the board members. I so appreciate you coming to to help out. So again, our staff, Eileen, myself, appreciate the job that you guys do, and for all of our community partners, Allied Waste, we have Interstate Battery, Central Mass Mosquito Control, Wheelabrator for Mercury,
And a couple guys from DPW came down. It was great seeing them there.
Absolutely, yep. And the Masons, of course. So that just gives you a taste of the Hazardous Waste Day.
Excellent.
Very nice.
Okay, at this time it is 6:20. I'd like to open the hearing for Cumberland Farms. If you'd like to come sit at the table, introduce yourselves.
Sure. My name is Bob Mayo. I'm the area manager overseeing the Auburn store, and with me is Rick Lauder, my boss, who's the regional manager.
Excellent. Okay, I'm Ray Gauthier. I am the chairman of the Board of Health. Oh, there I am. And he's
All right.
Steve Nordberg, Vice Chair.
Marion Howard.
and you must know.
Absolutely. Yes, we know Eileen. Absolutely.
Absolutely. She's been very, very instrumental in helping us
Yep.
get on track.
Excellent.
So it's been a good relationship, I think, so far, and we're hoping to continue it.
Excellent.
So,
Okay, so at this point, when we open the hearing, what we'll do is we'll go with Darlene and Eileen first. They'll let us know what's going on, and then you'll join in, and that's the evidentiary part, and then from there, we'll go into discussion. We'll close the evidentiary, so till we get all our information and start from there.
okay,
So,
great.
Eileen, if you'd like to start, please.
Okay, Cumberland Farms actually opened. They opened on Friday. This section is not currently open at this time, but they've expanded their food service considerably. And one of the items, which is up there to your far left, beyond, that's maybe another picture down.
Yeah,
the
it's
roller.
unfortunately that's.
It's
the
not
only-
in that picture,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's to the left of
The only
that.
one
Yeah.
It would be
here.
to the left of that, yeah.
This was pre-operation.
The first picture is the warmer, where you see the boxes. The second is the hot dog roller. Next to that, they have an ambient pizza display. It's about 3 to 4 shelves high, and it does not have a warmer on it. It's going to be an ambient display, and they want to cook their pizzas, display them there, and possibly prepackage them and put them in the warmer, all within a 2-hour period. Massachusetts requires a variance for that from the Board of Health. So in writing, they requested a variance from the board, and they included the requirements are procedures that have to be kept on premises. They did a very detailed procedure, separate from what their normal setup is with all of their instructional procedures for pizza. So they took all of their separate ones and put it into a step-by-step so that we could review it and all of their employees could follow it. And it actually goes from the beginning of the storage of the pizza to the sale or discard of the pizza. And that, I think, was included in your package. And if one of you want to speak towards, tell the board what?
Basically, it's pretty much set out here in this piece of paper that one of our food service leaders put together for you folks. How we proceed. We do this in all of our stores that have food service. So we have an ambient program where the pizza is cooked, put in the display. Unfortunately, it's to the left there. And kept for up to 2 hours, and then a log is kept of when the pizza is put up there and when it is taken down and discarded. And there's a little card up on the erasable card on the display itself, where if the pizza goes in at 10 o'clock, they put down 12 o'clock, and the pizza will be removed at 12 o'clock.
And a new one would be replaced, yeah.
And, right, it'd be replaced with something else, and that pizza would be trashed. So that's basically it in a nutshell. I don't know if there's any questions you've got about the program. We'll be more than happy to answer it.
Okay. Any other evidence so we can move into discussion, or?
So I just wanted to point out in your packet as well, the time as a public health control, the variance is listed here for the federal food code, 3-50119, and then the Massachusetts amended code, 105 CMR 590.004, H for variances. So that's the variance that would be before the board. The specifics for what they're explaining is for what their procedure is. Now, typically, as you are probably well aware, the time limit for food that's out of temp is going to be 4 hours. I think Cumbies is taking a more proactive approach, and they're taking their time limit from the 4 to the 2. So they're going to be doing basically a more stringent than what the food code would allow, if that's fair to say.
Yeah, and, and obviously, we've also done, extensive testing because we've got quite a number of stores that are out there that are changing to this program. This is what we want to see our stores be in the future, and this is where we're going, We understand that, other parts of the country, it's very commonplace to have this type of food in a convenience store, and we're pretty much cutting edge moving into this in the Northeast because most convenience stores don't have it. One of the things we did find, though, is that 2-hour point is where the product is in its prime. We can reheat it and we can still serve it to the customer and have no loss of any type of quality. After that, that's why we imposed it on ourselves, because we knew that the quality started to fall off after that. So it's our goal to make sure that the customer gets a top quality, food offering when it goes out. So.
Any more evidence?
I just wanted to show you so you guys could have, they do have a HACCP plan and the log that he mentioned, and these are their actual individual instructions that they used for their procedure.
So specific to the pizza program.
Okay. So if all the evidence is given, I will take a motion to close the evidentiary part of the hearing.
I make the motion.
Second.
Close it.
All right, we have a motion and a second to close the evidentiary part of the hearing. It is a roll call vote. Marion, how do you vote?
Aye.
Steve, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Ray votes aye, 3-0 to close that. Now we're in discussion phase. So yeah, I've actually dealt with this in Framingham. The Framingham store on Route 30 has it. Now, we don't see a picture of it. Is the shelving encased in the plexi?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not plexi, it's glass.
It's glass.
That is a tempered glass that
Okay.
we're using, yeah.
All right. My other question is the pizza that you're going to be keeping at ambient temperature, cheese only?
Cheese and pepperoni.
Cheese and pepperoni. Okay.
Yeah.
Cheese is kept on the top, pepperoni is kept on the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay. Steve, any questions?
I had a few.
All right. Marion, think about it? No?
Yeah, I know.
How many other now is this a corporate store or a franchise store?
All of our stores are corporate
All right,
stores.
so it's all corporate, so it's all under one major, management. We're not going to be dealing with
Absolutely.
a franchise owner
No.
that may have a different managerial approach.
Just
How many other stores in the Massachusetts area currently have this variance?
Actually, to be honest with you, most of them did not need this. It's just been recently that boards of health departments have started to ask us to go for the variance. I actually have another hearing tomorrow night that I have to attend for Northborough for the same variance. But many of the boards of health have not requested us to have any of these types of, additional information. So, I'll be honest with you, you guys are kind of on the leading edge of, asking for the additional information. So, but we have many stores that are operating like this, like he mentioned, Framingham. I believe in the state right now, we've got somewhere in the neighborhood of 70 some odd stores that are in this program.
Currently operating?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have about 140 plus stores in the state of Massachusetts, and about half of them have already been changed over
To this particular.
to this format
Yeah.
where we're offering food.
service.
Our standard offering for food service is the pizza, the roller grill, and then we have the ovens to heat and serve hot sandwiches, that we need. This particular unit, as you all know, also has a fryer-later unit so that we can offer fries and some other types of food, and that's kind of an expansion of what we've been doing. We've got that program in Worcester. We have a drive-through store that we use this in Worcester, and it's been very successful, so we thought we would try, as we built this brand new location, to try something like that. The other thing that you'll notice is when you come in, there is a made-to-order screen, and everything that we put, for the most part, for a customer, we like them to go through the screen. They can have a sandwich made with any toppings that they want on it. So, rather than trying to have any sandwiches that are on the slide, other than our breakfast sandwiches, which are a pretty standard offering, we can do additional things for our customers, which is what we're really trying to, set our goals on.
This is new for Cumberland Farms. It's not really a new technology, though.
Made to order, or, again, it's new in the Northeast per se. I mean, you go out west and you can order just about anything in a convenience store, and it's commonplace mostly just because of the amount of distance people have to travel, between stops. In the Northeast, I like to say you can take a 9-iron and hit a pizza shop, because that's pretty much what's out there. So we're educating the public that you can get a quality meal inside our stores. There's no question.
Especially for the people who are driving around, and you guys have stores that are open 24 hours, so
Right.
it's a
Certainly.
great thing.
But again, the ambient storage of the pizzas, the reheating and repackaging of them, this is not a new technology.
No, it's not a new
This is something that's been
technology, and that's
around.
something, again, we've been doing right along, and we haven't had, to my knowledge, we haven't had any real issues at all. So,
And I think the fact that they have the 4-hour window, but they know that for their quality, and for safety, I mean, they're well within the allowance for the variance. So they're definitely allowed to ask for the variance, and obviously the board it's your responsibility to whether or not you want to approve or disapprove or approve with conditions. But Eileen has worked with them very closely for the past several weeks, and the management to get this store open. And it's a beautiful store. Eileen and I actually went to
Right.
the other location to see how it all worked just functionally, because until you actually have it open,
Sure.
it's nice to talk about, but to see it in operation, you really kind of get the
Sure.
idea of
And
how it flows.
for this procedure, I did go through it step by step with them. And then the next day, Tanya did it up and sent it over to me. But I did go, starting at the freezer, all the way through to discard.
And
To
just,
to even have them locate where the label machine was going to be held. How do they change the tape? Because it's 24 hours, we just wanted to make sure that all the staff had the opportunity to read this. So after going through it, I read it, went back over the steps that I had walked through in the store. Because the importance is that everyone that works in, that store can follow that procedure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and this is a staff function. It's not a self-serve, is it?
This part, no.
Okay.
No, this is not. This is not. The roller grill is self-serve. And we do have, you saw a picture of the heated slide there, where we maintain breakfast sandwiches in the morning, and we will maintain hot slices of pizza. We will bag them and tag them and put them out there available for the customer during our busiest times of the day, certainly.
One, if I may,
Okay,
through
yeah,
the chair. One thing that I also did want to point out, because Eileen and I have very taken what the board has put in place over the past several years, but in a regulation as of last October, making sure that all of our establishments know ahead up front that anybody who is going to be the point person for the food service, that person has to hold those certifications. So they have to be ServSafe certified, allergen certified, and the Cumberland Farms has just offered that several more of their staff are going to be taking those certifications. So because this store is going to be such a lead store, such a busy store with the expanded operation that they've offered, again, Eileen has worked very closely with the management to let them know that the board's intention is to make sure, even at 11:30 at night or 1 in the morning, that we have people there that are certified that are going to be following all these procedures, because as we all know, these procedures, I mean, they're very tight, they have a very detailed plan, but the best laid plans, if they're not followed by people that are qualified, trained at all hours of operation, then it doesn't work. But they've taken a very serious approach, and we have a list of several employees that are going to be certified in the near future.
Yeah, and that's an ongoing process for us. I mean, we continually, identify people that, number one, that we feel are probably going to be shift leaders, things of that nature, and we try and continue to fill that pipeline. In the event that we need to move them from store to store, we want to make sure that we've got, people that are certified that can, maybe cover, from one store to the next. So that's just an ongoing educational process. We've got a dedication to that, and we've got a program set up with, trainers that, we have regular classes that we send people through. And even, not that, you're worried about it, but in Rhode Island, we've actually started an in-house program. Because Rhode Island has a certification that's only good for 3 years. So rather than 5, we need to keep turning people over a little bit quicker and updating their education.
So what, you have the pepperoni and cheese being held. What other kinds of pizza do you have? Are you doing any other flavors, or are those the only 2 you're doing?
At this point, we didn't start the made-to-order flavors yet.
Okay.
We are testing a program in some of our stores where we would have an additional 4 or 5 toppings that
Okay.
could be cooked onto the pizza. Not more than 3 would be able to go onto any single pizza, and the reason that is that it ruins the quality, quite honestly. And so right now we're not doing it.
Okay.
But we are doing it at other stores, and if we can master that plan, we may ask to do that at some point.
I was looking to see if you guys were going to do a pizza of the day or anything like that, because I'd be leery about a vegetable pizza being held at ambient temperature.
Okay.
I spent 25 years in food service, and so I understand what you're doing and how it works, and I like the idea. I've seen it work in other pizza restaurants. They do the same thing. What they do is they reheat the pepperoni. They'll keep the cheese on the side and throw pepperoni slices on it, reheat with the pepperoni, so they're not cooking the pepperoni twice. That's how they do it. This, if it's not ruining the quality, then to me personally, I don't see a major issue with it. I was going to get to a point and I lost my point. but
I
that's
would
okay.
absolutely agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Working in restaurants myself, putting myself through college, I would agree. The vegetables will not hold up. They become soggy, and it really ruins the quality of the pizza. Forget about the health issue.
Yeah.
It's not a good quality product before it becomes a health issue.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I mean, we certainly try and stay away from anything like that.
Okay. Steve? anything?
So any additional toppings, if down the road, will be covered under the variance?
That would be up to us.
So that,
Okay.
Well, if we were going to add additional toppings, all of that is made to order
Made to order,
anyway.
exactly. They aren't gonna be kept ambient.
No,
It would
it's not
be
kept that way.
Stored in refrigeration. or
Right,
something.
exactly. And they're
the
put
only
on at the
ones
time
Indian-
of baking a pie.
Pepperoni and cheese.
Pepperoni and cheese. That was what I was trying to get across
Yeah,
too, and wanted
yeah.
to make sure.
I mean, we
there
did at one point run some specialty flavored pizzas. We had some other types of things. So far, they haven't been a great success. So quite honestly, we're sticking with the pepperoni and cheese.
Because I could see in the heat slide if you were gonna put like barbecue chicken and you did the heat slide, but I wouldn't want to see those kept at ambient temperature.
Sure,
I'd rather
sure, of
see the top 2 sellers or whatever.
Yeah,
I think that
yeah.
would be the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Now my chef side's coming out, so I gotta stop
Yeah, there you
talking.
go. That's okay. It's exciting stuff. It really is. I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you. It's a big move for us, and we're very excited about moving in that direction.
You can really tick off Paula right now. You guys aren't doing donuts, are you? Inside joke, sorry. Anything, Marion? Any questions or concerns?
Yes, I do have one question. Who monitors the quality control at the end of the day? In other words, the time the pizza goes in, the time the pizza goes out, the person who's in charge of that pizza in a 24-hour period, you have different staff, and the checklist that you just had shown, who monitors
Who looks at
that?
that at the end of the day, or
Yeah,
the
who
very next day?
monitors that?
That would be one of probably 3 people. It would either be the manager, the assistant manager, or our food service leader. We have one person who has been specifically trained, and it's their job to just work with our food service program. So one of those 3 would monitor the times every single day to make sure that we're not posting things at the wrong time, and that we're staying within guidelines. They're also checking temps all day. They're keeping temperature logs. They're also out on the floor, checking the temps of our coolers, our sandwich case. They're doing all of that as an ongoing basis all day.
Is there a supervisor that overlooks that sheet and looks at the times that the pizza?
Again, those three would do it. Mr. Mayo is in charge of visiting the store at
Right.
least twice a week
Yep.
usually, and he would look at that. And then again, you've met Tanya. Tanya is our food service field trainer, and she visits the store especially the new stores on a very frequent basis to continue to work through
So you
and
have
make
sort
sure.
of like a catalog.
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely. Yeah.
And if I may, Marion, also Eileen has gone through with Tanya and the management leaders over there, these logs to make sure that there's going to be consistency with these logs getting filled out. So Eileen has been, on top of that, the paperwork, and making sure that people understand that the logs have to be completed and they have to report back to her if those logs aren't being.
Oh, that's good.
They're actually going to have a binder, Marion. Obviously, 24-hour stores and all the 2-hour checks, we're not going to be able to keep many, but they're going to keep a couple days' worth in one of the sections of the binder. So whenever we come in, or if they come in, they can look at the last couple
You
of
can
days.
access it.
So if they put a day, they'll throw away day. Tanya's going to work with the management team to see, how many, whether can they get 4 days or 5 days in, so that they can kind of go back, and when they put a new one in, they can take the first one out. So they're working on that, kind of to see how much is going to go in that book, how many days do they really
After they
need
pull them out
to
of the
see.
book, are you gonna have them stored for a certain amount of days?
What we're trying to see how many would actually be sufficient for us to review. So we'd like a week. If we get down to 5 days or 4 days after they decide how many they're going to look at, their last, if it's 5 days, will always be in that book. So even if I don't go for another 4 months, when I come, it'll be them last 5 days. So that gives time reference for when Tanya goes or when Bob goes to kind of overlook. The management there will be looking at them every day, but keeping whatever they determine. We gave them a few weeks to open, get going. They don't even have this set up yet.
Yep.
Kind of go for a month and see how many days they feel is a good, replication for them to look at. And then, whatever they come up with, we'll work on it. They'll always be there.
That's great.
Yeah.
If I may, Bob,
Yep.
Ryan, you can, as part of your consideration for approving this variance, if you feel that you want to put a time limit on how long those logs are kept. I mean, I'm thinking, I don't think Cumberland Farms is going to have a problem if the variance is getting approved with keeping those logs.
I mean, no, we can certainly keep them as long as you want us to. I mean, I'm hoping you're not going to ask for a year's worth, because that would certainly take up some space.
Well,
But
in Framingham, we require 6 months. Because what we do is we go in, they pull them out of the thing, and then we pull 1 or 2 out, look at them. Because I worked food, you worked food. Sometimes things are going to get forgotten. We all know something's going to get missed. There may be some, but I don't even think it's 6 months. I think it's 3 months. It's 90 days, so it is 3 months.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
That's what I thought it
it's
was.
90.
But,
It's
yeah.
90 days in Framingham. We go in. They only keep 7 days because they do both sides of the page. 12 on one side, 12 on the other, and they do keep those in their binder. And then in the back, when I go see the manager there, she goes out back and pulls me the envelope. I'll pull 2 or 3 out. If I see anything in the store that bothers me, I may pull 15 or 20 out. It depends on what's going on. If I notice issues with the temps while I'm there, I'll go through more and check them out. I think 5 is good, but I think it doesn't give you the full picture.
Yeah, that's only in the work.
In the work area, but in the work binder. But I think having a few others to double check would be great. You may go in there and everything looks good in the 5, and you may say, yeah, I don't need to see the rest. Dump them, and we'll start fresh from this day and go from there. It'll be whatever we decide, but I think it's going to be a working condition for you guys because you're the one on the road. I'm the only inspector in Framingham, so I do the corporate office and I do the other things. So I get to go play in the test kitchen.
There you go.
So, but yeah, we do require 90 days out there, 3 months, and I mean that's in this 7. So there's 83 sheets of paper, which is about a ream of paper. So it gets a little thick. But when I go out there, I say, okay, toss them. Go ahead, go, and they do it. They tried doing dry erase, and they were keeping 15 dry erase, but then they were smudging.
Yeah.
Because I said, yeah, if you do that, well, and then you can just wipe them off and then start again, but it wasn't working well for them. So, but other than that, I don't have any other concerns.
You keep 5 days at the workstation.
We'll keep it in the book.
That's what we can
Right.
decide. We can decide.
You can decide what you want in
From,
the
a-
book.
from your corporate policy in regards to this,
No, this was something that I reported.
okay.
That's their
we-
requirement.
So what do you only keep one day at a time? What's your normal policy?
No, we usually have a week's, in
A week.
most stores, we'll have a week's in a logbook,
Alright.
you
And
know,
then-
and then
what would
after
you do
that, if
after?
we, I mean, after that, if there's no real issue with anything, then we'll, we'll just discard them. I mean,
Okay.
I guess my feeling is, I'm in the store a couple times a month. If I go in there and I see that, 30 days ago we missed one, the best I can do is say to somebody, hey, we gotta do better at this, but if they've done better for the last 25 days, the problem's been solved. And I'm hoping that, when Mr. Mayo's there or the manager's
We
there,
do a monthly
somebody's gonna look
inspection,
at it.
And
you know
the
what I mean?
logbook is
So,
one of the things you
it's one of the
inspect.
things you have to inspect is
That's
the
it.
logbook.
So once a month, I'm gonna go through
But
it.
your normal policy is to keep 7 days.
At least,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And the funny thing is, and it wasn't your company, I went into a logbook, and they were done through Saturday, and I was there on Wednesday.
Yeah.
The temperatures were all done through Saturday.
And again, it's an operational issue, and somebody needs to address it, and hopefully somebody would see that.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
went in and I'm looking at the logbook, and I kept checking my phone for the date, and I'm like, I look at the calendar, and I'm like, so I pulled the manager over, and I said, what's this? She goes, oh, that's our log. I said, really? I said, what are these dates? And she goes, oh, that was Saturday. I go, no, today's Thursday. This isn't Saturday coming up. Then she tried to tell me that the date was wrong on it. I said, no. Because that
No, I
means
get
you're
it.
missing the next 5 days.
I get it.
So,
I
and
understand.
it happens, something,
Yeah.
worked in the food industry. I know people get bored. I mean, the Red Books and the Papagenos, the Friendlies, all that place that have the Red Book, people just go through and, 40, 39 degrees, make it look different. So there's a 38 in there.
Yeah,
It happens because of, you have I don't want to say a transient population, but a lot of times in these kind of businesses, you have college kids, you have high school kids, you have people who are just working to get money so they can go drinking on Friday night. And that's what happens in the food industry because of the type of pay it is, and that's kind of what happens. The people who are the career people are the assistant managers and above. Everybody else are the people you have filling in. So as long as you have a strong core at your assistant managers and manager positions, then I don't see that happening. The place I went didn't have a strong core, and that's why they were just getting all their paperwork done on Monday for the whole week and letting it go. So,
If I can add
understand.
something.
I understand.
Steve, just so that you're clear, the log that we're actually talking about for what we're here for, is for ambient pizza. It's time without temperature. This is not a temperature log. This is a time log, so that they made the pizza at 10 in the morning, at 12 o'clock, it no longer can be sold, it needs to be discarded. So the log that I was talking about is, this is gonna give us an idea for how many pizzas they're making, how long they're keeping them at ambient temp, what their waste factor is gonna be here too, so we can, on a given day, I'm sure, hopefully, it'll be minimal, but there'll be some waste. This is kind of a log to see when they're making their pizzas,
Right.
how long they're staying, if they're taking them out and putting them into the warmer, cooler, repackaging them. The other logs are temperature logs,
Right.
which they have, an entirely another procedure and regulation for, but this won't be temperatures, so just to be clear with you, this will actually be the 2-hour time limit to show that they're
And they
meeting
could
it.
actually fill up a couple of these pages
On a
in a
day.
given day.
it
They
depends.
could.
Good.
They
Saturday
could.
and lunch,
I'm
they could
hoping
be-
that we never get to 2 hours. I'm hoping we're selling them all, and we're just putting them out all the time.
Exactly.
How many days would be helpful for you to be
When
able
we
to
talked
reference
about the
back
log,
to?
book we wanted this in, we talked about, that's what I said, so we talked about 7 days. Now, 7 days is continuous, so if I come in to look at the logbook that I want to look at, outside of what they're doing, it's going to have their pest control in it, it's going to have many things in it. The section for the ambient pizza is going to have these sheets for 7 days, continuous. So if I
Past
come
7
in,
days.
the past 7. So if you're going to put in, today is Monday, if you're going to put in this Monday's, you're taking out next Monday's and tossing it.
And you feel that would be sufficient?
For what I need to do for this, because it's not temperatures, I absolutely understand, Ray. This is really how many they're cooking and what their shelf time is, did they make the 2 hours or not? Kind of gives us, an idea of what type of business they're doing with the ambient pizza.
And I think also it's important to know that, again, according to what Massachusetts allows, they can have up to the 4 hours in the ambient temp, but they're requesting this variance specifically just for 2 hours. So that in coordination with all of the procedures that they have just for this pizza program, because this is going to be the variance just for the pizza holding at ambient temp. They have all the other, I guess, safety measures that we would normally check anyways as part of our inspection. So as Eileen referred to, we're going to check to make sure they have their pest control, it's up to date, we don't have any problems. We're going to make sure that they have their preventative maintenance for the ice machine. That's, you know, being checked for the slush, the cool zone, the regular ice machine. They're going to have their
Right, but for
cleaning
that-
of
for this
the
particular
friolators.
thing Here,
I'm sorry?
that's all we need right here is, all that other stuff is
Absolutely.
covered under our normal food code.
Exactly, so we do that comprehensive inspection, checking all those pieces, but this is gonna be specifically, if all those other pieces are working properly and they're keeping up to date on that, then following this variance process, which obviously you have to approve before they can move forward with this, but this variance process is gonna be similar just to all the other processes that they normally follow and keep on a regular time limit. You know, all that makes up this working.
Can I make a motion? Or do we have to close
It
the
is,
discussion?
well, we'll have to close it first. Is there any other discussion? I just have I know you said 5 to 7 days you were looking to keep. I think I would bump that up to 10 to 14 days. Simple fact is we're getting calls, I know I get calls for foodborne illness 7 days after the fact. If we're only keeping 7 days and someone says I went into, because we have to trace 72 hours back, if they said, oh yeah, last Saturday I ate at Cumberland Farms and after that, like the next on Sunday I got sick, if we're only keeping 7 days and they call you 7 days later, you're missing out on some of it. Anything over 14 days on when people call me on a FBI or something like that, I just say, you know, you're way over. But I think 14 days would be a good that way you won't need to check them all. But if you have that 14 days, if something does happen, you can trace it back. Not that anything's going to happen, but we have to be able to. Usually when we do foodborne illness inspection, we do a 72-hour, what they ate in 72-hour period. So you could be at the beginning of that 72-hour period. If you're only keeping 5 days and we get the call on Thursday and they say they got sick on Saturday, we're going to lose out at the beginning of that. So it's going to be like inconclusive, and we'd rather say nope, it didn't come from Cumberland Farms than inconclusive.
Right.
So I'm thinking closer as 10 to 14. Would
Yeah,
that be
14.
would that be something that you could, you know,
Yeah,
there
no,
won't be a
like
problem?
I said, we hadn't really pinned down a time.
Yep.
Because we wanted to roll out the program and then I
Yep.
was gonna go back.
Oh, yeah.
Meet with Tanya again, so, no, I think that that's great.
I think a 10 to 14 day, because
And
that's
I will tell
sometimes.
them what you said about the double sided.
I would like to see 14 days kept. I mean, I know we do like 30 to 90 in Framingham. I think that's too much.
Well, I mean, essentially, if you're talking about in the binder that they're keeping
Yep.
right, they can pull out a binder and show us. I mean,
I-
if they keep
if
2
they-
weeks and then, you know,
I was gonna say if they could keep 5 days that would work for you in the binder, and a total of 2 weeks, like the 9 days
In the
previous
back.
in the back.
In the, like.
They
the-
can
we
throw,
talked
they can
about,
put them
yeah.
in there and then toss a few when it comes down to it. Cause I think when you have 2 weeks, it's gonna be that thick.
Well, I'm gonna definitely tell them, Ray, about your double siding.
Double siding,
Because
because-
that's 2 weeks is 7
And
pages.
on a Saturday at lunchtime, they're gonna make 10 pizzas. And they're gonna put all 10 on there, and then they're gonna have the time that they put them in. One's at 12:02, one's at 12:04,
Yep.
came out 12:06. I think it's a 6-minute time period. So they're gonna bulk up. So you could, like he said, you know, in 6 hours you could fill that whole front page.
Right, yeah.
So I think 2 weeks is gonna be real thick, but I'd like to see a minimum of 2 weeks kept for
In the back,
that you
yeah.
have the availability to look at in case something happens.
Absolutely.
And I always say we have to plan for the worst and hope for the best, and go from there.
so a total of 2 weeks
I
for
would-
record keeping?
I would say 14 days for record keeping. If,
5 days in the binder and 14 days.
yes, but we haven't made a motion on that
Yeah,
yet.
I know that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, 5 to 7 days, whatever they can fit. As long as they keep 14 days, I think we'd be fine.
Okay.
I would recommend 7 days at least in the binder.
And the 7 days at least in the binder? Okay. And I think that's gonna be a working thing for Eileen, since she's gonna be along the road, what's gonna work, and when she sees the stack like this that she has to go through. So, Any other discussion? Do you have any questions or concerns before we go into
I like
voting?
your optimism. I'm hoping I fill up several pages. I like your optimism.
Hey, I don't live too far away from there, and I'm like, a burger at midnight?
And it's really good, I can tell you that much.
I used to bartend, get up at 2 and leave the place at 3 in the morning and go to the Kenmore Diner and get a burger and fries before I went home to bed, so
Yeah, there you go.
it is
Can I
scary. That's why I
recommend the
gave,
macaroni and cheese bites that have been deep fried? I'm telling you, they're delicious.
and that's why I gained 35 pounds
Yeah,
my first
yeah.
year out of college, so. Okay, at this point, I will take a motion to close the discussion part of the hearing.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Okay, it has to be a roll call vote since it is a hearing. Marion, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
A yes to close?
Yes.
So 3-0 to close. At this point, I will take a motion. Somebody wants to make a motion on the request for variance.
I'll make a motion to approve the requested variance to display specifically cheese and pepperoni pizza at ambient temperature for no more than 4 hours.
Excuse me.
Two.
Two.
The request was for 2.
I don't see a request for 2.
Yeah, right there.
It's in the... I know I saw it. It's in the... It's in
The federal
It's in
food code
procedure.
says up to 4. And I know their policy is 2
2.
hours.
I would keep
They're
it.
specifically asking for
Yeah.
2, though.
Yeah,
Am
I
I
would-
correct?
Yeah, they're asking.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about us. We're not going to be going anywhere else. That's our standard policy because we know where our breakdown is. So.
To put the
Alright.
Quality
variance
changes.
on the cheese and pepperoni pizza
For a
for 2
maximum of
hours.
2 hours. Maintaining logs of a continuous previous 14 days.
No, they have
You can
to
keep
be
them in a book, you
procedure.
can keep them in a
That's for them to handle. We can just get...
Exactly.
We'll just say 14 days.
14 days.
They do.
Is that it?
Lower hold time. And the
So we have their
ambient
policy here for looking at the other variance request requirements.
Double-sided.
We already have that, so we're good.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion on the table and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, we'll go to roll call vote. Marion, how do you vote on the, actually Steve, since you came out,
Aye.
how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye on Steve. Marion. Aye. Aye. 3-0 to allow the variance for Cumberland Farms to hold pizza, cheese and pepperoni pizza at ambient temperature for 2 hours, not more.
Thank you very much,
Terrific.
gentlemen.
Can we start that tomorrow, or do we have to wait for that to become official somewhere?
It's
think it is
it's official right now. We just
Yeah.
Terrific. I
voted.
just want to make sure.
There will be, Eileen may swing by. I don't know if
That's
you
fine.
put a letter together or anything,
Yeah,
but
I'm
you,
I will put a letter together and I will
Okay.
bring you the actual state regs, so you can have that with it.
Okay.
And you need to have your procedure that Tanya did
Right.
on the premises at all times, so
Okay.
when
No
someone
problem.
comes in to
Very good.
inspect.
But we'll give
Terrific.
you a written letter from the board,
Okay.
so that you'll have that as
Okay.
part of your paperwork for this store.
Great.
Thank you very much.
good luck.
Thank you.
Hope you guys do
Appreciate
really
it.
well.
Thanks for coming in.
Bye-bye now.
Appreciate it.
Have a nice
Thank
night.
you.
Nice meeting you.
Hey, it was nice to meet you
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'll see you again
I'm
shortly.
sure I'll see
Thank
you
you.
again.
Thank you very much,
All
Ellen.
right, thank you.
Good luck with
Nice
everything.
meeting you.
Thank you.
folks.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
How was that outside
Marion,
seating today?
Take care.
Was the outside seating used today? You got
Oh,
the-
yes.
I saw one person out. I was filling up when I got here.
Probably got a little too
People
warm
like
for
it.
it,
Yeah,
right?
it was nice a little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
Congratulations, it's a beautiful
Picnic time.
store.
Thank you very much.
Have a great
Please
night.
come on by.
A
Thank you.
motion to close the hearing. You have a motion to close the hearing?
I make that motion.
No,
Close the hearing.
I need a second. He already made a
Second.
motion. Okay, we have a motion and a second to close the hearing. How do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, hearing is closed at
6:58.
6:59.
Ooh, good.
Okay. All right, so let's, moving on. Let's see, we have programs, goals, and objectives. We did start on the household hazardous waste report. Was there anything else that you needed to add to that?
No, I just gave you the total on the
Okay.
vehicles, pushing through. We have the invoice that you have approved.
Yep.
And from there, we'll just have our appreciation letters will go out.
Excellent.
We'll have those for your next meeting.
Okay, good. Emergency planning, the radios.
Yes, I wanted to let you know, the Region 2 Public Health Coalition has contacted us recently for the radios, the CP200 radios that we received way back several years ago. Those radios were part of a grant through the region, and we received several of those radios. I believe we have a total of 8 or 9 radios. Those radios were given for our emergency dispensing site and overall emergency planning. So if we have an event that we need to use those radios for communication, much like we did for the hazardous waste day, we would have those. The radios that we did use for hazardous waste were a smaller version of the Talk About radios. These radios that I'm referring to for reprogramming purposes is a much higher band, if you will, type radio. Those radios are being licensed, I think, through the FCC, so they're getting those done. We've given all of the radios to the City of Worcester through the region, and they're going to work on getting those programmed for us. So I just want to let you know those are in the works. We'll get those back, and they should be as good as new.
Excellent. West Nile virus, mosquitoes, and
Yeah, in your packet, just wanted to, you have a copy of the May 1st letter, the identifying merit award that they got from the EPA for the tire program that became very popular. Obviously, we're on it. We had the hazardous waste day. We had, the 5 gentlemen that were there, and we have a very successful program here. They do routine pickups at the DPW, so they're constantly changing tires down there through the facilities program, and I think it's fair to say we know firsthand about this, we're doing it. So that's a really good thing for our community.
tobacco compliance.
Tobacco compliance. So I wanted to just highlight the fact that we do have the tobacco renewals coming up in, I believe it's in June, Paula?
Yep,
The end of
July
May?
1st, yep.
Okay, so so for June, we'll be renewing the tobacco permits. We have approximately about 20 establishments, and we have the establishments were, any new establishment like this, for example, Cumbies was already open, but they went through a renovation. So when we go out, Eileen and myself are making sure that they have the proper signage, they have the tobacco products out of reach for the youths, making sure that the people, the sales clerks know that they have to card, and making sure that program is identified clearly to them. I think the best thing that we can do is make sure our business owners are educated and they know the right thing to do. Obviously, we have tobacco compliance checks through the Worcester Regional Tobacco Coalition, and they are very supportive of doing those checks, but we want to make sure that we're giving the business owners what they need in order to succeed. Obviously, our end goal is not to get tobacco products into youth's hands, and by having a strong education with our business owners, we can do that. So I just wanted to let you know we're trying to just kind of take inventory of who we have as establishments, and make sure the compliance checks are being done on a regular basis. We're in the process of getting that information of when the last compliance checks were, and making sure everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing. We've had some complaints recently on some places selling at state or below minimum state pricing. So again, we're working with the State Department of Revenue and the Tobacco Coalition to identify that people know what they're supposed to be doing. So it's an ongoing process, but since this is the time of renewal, it's a good idea to get education out. It's just a good reminder. We do have, any checks that are done, obviously we'll bring that information to you.
We had voted back in correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was August or September,
Yeah.
to do extra checks. Is that money still available for that to happen?
Yes, the money is there, and in speaking with the Tobacco Coalition, I believe we are getting extra checks.
Okay.
And I don't know if we're going to be charged for those checks, so it might be, I'm waiting to hear back
Yeah,
on
we
that.
had,
Yeah.
we had done some research, and they had told us what they were gonna charge us if they charged us.
Sure, yeah.
So,
I know
we,
Andy.
and we had set we had made sure we had enough money for 2 or 3, I can't remember exactly what we did.
Yeah.
But because we had restructured our fine system, but the way that the checks were going, the fine system wasn't gonna work, so we
Yeah.
had paid for, we were gonna pay for extra to make sure that if somebody was continually selling, we'd be able to get them into the fine structure and go from there.
Right.
So, okay.
So I know Andy had reached out last fall to the Tobacco Coalition, so we have that money in place.
Okay.
I am, again, working with the Tobacco Coalition to make sure that any of our new establishments, because as you know, we have a new e-cigarette establishment. So we want to make sure that, again, the business owners know what they're expected, and how we're keeping tobacco and nicotine out of the youth's hands.
I want to add something that I hadn't mentioned, but Cumberland Farms with their new store and new registers, and we see this a lot for alcohol. They actually have in their register the carding thing.
They have
So
to
if-
scan the,
if someone buys a package of cigarettes, they have to put in their birth date.
good.
Oh, cool. That's nice.
Yeah, it was really nice. They showed me how it worked the other day.
That's a list of the tobacco establishments that we have. So just wanted to let you know that we'll be kind of looking at that in the next couple of months and working to make sure that we have everybody updated. Okay?
Excellent. Okay, if there's nothing else with tobacco, new business, we can run right through that list.
Sure. So new business, in addition to the list of tobacco there, we have some frozen dessert licenses that were issued. As you know, the regulation that you passed back in October was right around the same time we send out renewals. That went out like we normally do, and kind of on autopilot. We had the frozen dessert licenses come back. In the regulation, the board had discussed and looked at, we were giving frozen dessert licenses for anybody that had slushes that were non-dairy. In looking at that and trying to make it more business friendly for what we have out there, and keeping the focus on what food safety is about for frozen dessert licenses, the board decided to allow only frozen dessert licenses for dairy. So if they have a soft serve machine, obviously they're going to get a frozen dessert license. But if they had like a slush puppy machine, they no longer needed a frozen dessert license. So again, trying to be more business friendly and working with the focus being on the dairy results and making sure that we get those on a timely basis. We have actually three establishments that we must refund their frozen dessert money. So I wanted to bring that to your attention, and we will, with your approval, we'll issue that back to the 3 establishments.
Wasn't that on today?
It was on the
That was on our bill
bill
schedule, we
Yes,
signed off on
you
those.
signed on it. Yeah, I just
So
wanted to make sure
all
you
right.
understood
Yeah.
what you were signing. So, not that you wouldn't, but I just wanted to identify the reason for that. Okay. We also have, normally, I would have to tell you, let me just go back. My first time using this, so let me just, we have notification of an emergency beaver permit notification. Normally, you would have this as a hearing. However, I received the application and we performed a site visit. It was an immediate concern. This was actually a back of somebody's yard that's actually creeping up. This is on the Worcester-Auburn line, and this again shows the proximity, the flooding to the house. There was actually ducks. I should have taken a picture of the duck, but there was actually a duck floating back here. It was like a small pond. This woman has had flooding. I don't know if you can see that arrow. Almost right up to here is where she identified. You can see the
Yep.
pool. There are, it was an immediate concern. The reason that this flooding was happening was a blocked culvert at the 20 Oxford Street North in Auburn. This particular property is feeling the effects in Worcester, so this is actually a Worcester property, but it was because the culvert in Auburn was backing up. So I wanted to just let you know, we gave the DPW authority to act on this because obviously waiting could have been detrimental to the property owner. So again, normally I would bring these to you, but
Has it already been cleared?
it has been.
Have we gone back and checked out the property, see if it went down?
They were working on it today.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
excellent.
So it was actually
So in the
happening
next couple
today.
days, if you can go out and take a picture, maybe at the
Abs-
next meeting you can show us and
Sure.
say, hey, here's the difference. That's what one day happened. So.
Absolutely, yep. So that is what the notification is for the
Excellent.
emergency. Okay. Can I continue?
Oh,
with the
yeah.
animal?
Keep
Okay.
go- keep
So
going.
the animal appointment through Massachusetts Department of Agricultural Resources, we did, if you recall, we had sent in the nomination papers a couple months ago. We got the official appointment from MDAR, and Megan Pike is our appointment for Inspector of Animals. Megan Pike has been in that role. She does very well. We have sent this down to the town clerk, selectman's office, and again,
This came from them, MDAR?
little spelling error.
Yeah, the first thing I noticed as soon as I looked at it. Thorough. April
I assure
30th.
you, that wasn't my
I
spelling
didn't think
error,
it was
so.
you.
So
no,
that,
that's cool.
again, is just an official, because they do have to be specifically named by Department of Ag.
Yep.
Solid waste, I wanted to let you know, this past week, we had the town meeting. At town meeting, I had brought over to the town entrance, the town meeting entrance, a picture of an actual compost bin and kitchen scrap bucket that Solid Waste Advisory Committee was able to secure through a grant through Department of Environmental Protection to allow the residents who were be voting on the specific revolving account to actually see what they were voting on. It proved to be very helpful. I think we had several people stop and ask, and tried to explain how the unit works. Amy Sullivan, our solid waste coordinator, assisted as well. She was able to get some nice educational materials through DEP, and those are going to be included anytime somebody is going to be purchasing a compost bin. So the compost bin is, Article 22, to see if the town meeting would vote to set up a revolving account was approved, happy to say. So we now have the account that was approved. We have 7 days actually until we can set up that account officially. So Paula has already reached out to the town accountant to get that started. We will begin selling those compost bins as soon as we can get the revolving account and paperwork in place. The compost bins, the actual bin itself is, I think it's going to be for about $55. I'll verify that with Amy. And then we have a smaller kitchen scrap bucket that we'll be using inside the house, and that's about $10.
Okay.
Those have been slightly marked up from what we got them from the grant in order to sustain the program.
Yeah.
So normally a unit of the size that we had, the large unit that you put in your yard, would be about $80 to $100 you buy at Home Depot. So this is going to be considerably less at, $55 to $60. So that's going to be a nice program. And again, we'll give people the tools to be able to start it. I'm really excited about it. I've always wanted to do composting, so I'm gonna give it a whirl.
That's great.
Excellent. Okay. Next, inspections.
Inspections, we have a report from Eileen. She has been extremely busy with follow-up. Obviously, with Cumberland Farms took up a lot of time last week and through the variance process, but I know she has been pretty successful on getting some inspections and re-inspections done. If you'd like to offer, Eileen.
Yeah, since our last meeting, I've been doing the re-inspections, but we had just a few complaints, so we handled all the complaints and the re-inspections for that. But we had one bigger restaurant that required several inspections in Cumberland Farms, which required about 6 of them. So we met 2 weeks ago and probably spent most of my time on re-inspections, and then did about 6 or 7 new, and then Cumberland's in a bigger restaurant.
So I think the re-inspections obviously is an important part of this, making sure there's follow through, and we've had a lot of time spent on the new establishments, but I think the time is well spent going forward, so that we know that the time up front is going to keep us on track for food safety. Do you have any questions for us? Hopefully we're giving enough information.
So
You are,
the
you are.
only,
You're doing
we
good.
had a new establishment last time, which is the little convenience store at
Jack's.
at Jack's at
Jack's
the
Variety.
plaza.
Yep. This Cumbies is obviously
Cumbies,
reopening.
yeah, reopening. Any other new establishments on the horizon? Have we had any?
I don't,
Well,
We
I
have
saw some of
seats.
these on the list here. I saw some closings at some of these smaller places. Is anything opening up in any of those places? Any idea what's going to happen at the old BP station, the old
The,
Mills Quick Shop and Deli?
that, no, we haven't been approached for those.
Okay.
I believe there may be like a corporation for BP, because those 3 establishments you see on the tobacco list, all 3 kind of had the same outcome at the same time, so we think it was something at the corporate level.
Yep.
So we haven't really heard too much more on that. It's still trying to, we'll reach out to the other town departments, because obviously fire and building, we all go there for different inspections. So we'll keep in tune with what they're doing as well. So no new establishments, brick and mortar, but I can tell you, we've been very busy
Very busy.
for temporaries.
all of our
this is-
seasonal and
yeah.
temporaries are.
Seasonal and temporary, Eileen has spent a great portion of time speaking with many that are proposing, and obviously the seasonal, keeping their frozen desserts, making sure we're overseeing that correctly, and making sure we're getting the monthly test results and so forth. So feel like that is definitely going to, it's not anything we haven't discussed, but that's going to take a good portion of time, different times of the year. So
and this is the big time. Everybody's getting ready.
Yeah.
Anything on? What was the other question I had and I lost it? Oh man, I'm getting old. All right. Well, while I'm thinking of that, camps. Do we have any camps coming up? Have we had any
we
requests?
have, yeah, we actually have, again this year, we're going to have the town,
Yep.
Recreation and Culture. I've already started meeting with Ms. Pappas, the director. So we've already had several meetings, and I believe we're meeting this week as well to kind of see where we're at. So she's already working on, the systems that she has in place and getting the application together. Because we had a good portion of time that we spent last year, we have a lot of good systems in place. So we want to take a look at what we did. We've already identified some areas that we can improve upon, some systems that we had in place that we know that we can do a better job. So we've already kind of taken some steps on that. So that is going to be, that camp, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, starts the beginning of July.
Yeah, I think it's right after the 4th
So
celebration.
it's July, and it goes for 6 to 7 weeks, I believe, if I'm not
Do we have any
mistaken.
swimming camps in town?
No, not to my knowledge, no.
After doing that whole, was it Christian's Law and everything like that, and the
Yeah.
whole new setup, I was hoping we didn't have any in town.
Yeah.
That's such a pain.
We have one outdoor swimming hole that we permit, the Century
Yeah.
Sportsman's Club.
But that's not a
and-
camp, so it's different. You don't have to
Exactly.
do that.
Yeah,
so.
they don't actually have a swim program. They have an open swim for their members and their
Yep.
families, but it's not what we were talking about, Christian's Law for like kids taking swimming lessons and so forth. So the Christian's Law wouldn't apply to that.
That's good.
So we're okay on that. And we will probably, next time we meet, they typically like to open for Memorial Day
Yep.
right around that time. So we expect to hear from them soon.
Excellent. What I was missing is I think we're capturing a lot more of the ones that were going by the wayside before, some of these other temporaries that we were missing in the past. I think you guys seem to be picking them up, and I think we're going to notice we're going to have a lot more temporary this year because we're picking up on these temporary that we were missing in the past.
Absolutely.
And I mean, it was nobody's fault. We were down to one inspector for the longest time, and it just got to the point where it was overwhelming. And I think now having full-time inspector on with you, I think we're going to be able to capture a lot of this and really make sure everybody is permitted. Okay, any questions on the communicable disease?
Not for me, no.
Not from you?
No.
Those are my medical people. I don't even bother. If you guys have a question, then I jump in, but at this point. Okay, so at this point, next meeting, if needed, would be the 19th of the month because the 26th is the holiday. So at this point, do you see any reason for us to need that?
Not at this time.
Okay. So if it does come up, we'll get a call or something and you can let us know. But other than that, we can just drop that meeting.
Okay.
I won't be around anyway.
Okay. And then the next ones will be June 9th and June 23rd.
Right.
Huh? And there's no holidays, no Flag Day is the 14th, so we're good there.
Yep.
Okay. So if nobody has any problems, we can pencil those in. And we can do the same what we've been doing is get to the first meeting. If it looks like we don't need the second meeting of the month, if you say everything's caught up, we can table that meeting if there's nothing coming up.
Okay.
I think the only meetings we've been having are ones we have hearings on, really.
Right.
So
Just to let you know, I may have a conflict with the June 9th, so.
okay. Do you want to
if
just set
that's-
up the 23rd and just if there's a conflict and you need to have us, you can call us and
no,
set up a different meeting?
No, I don't want the board to,
Well, we've been only having one a month, so it's not a
Yeah.
big deal.
Okay.
Because if we do it the 23rd, we're going to have the town celebration coming up on the 4th, so you can kind of clue us in on what's going on with the
Okay.
4th of July celebration.
Well, let's hold the 9th, at least we'll hold the spot.
Yeah.
If something pressing comes up, otherwise we'll.
You can table it.
Yeah.
You can call us and let us know, yeah, we're going to table it or whatever, if there's
Okay.
nothing going
Yeah,
on.
and if something is pressing, I can impart,
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with Eileen.
Yeah, Eileen for
I have
handle it.
Doing
to
everything.
confirm, schedule the room
Yeah, it's scheduled
We
for the
can always
9th and,
cancel.
9th and the 23rd, and we'll go from there.
and the 19th, so.
Okay.
Yeah, the 19th too, I forgot about that one.
Okay.
Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
At this point, is there any other discussion that needs to be had? I guess they'll take that as a no. Do I have a motion?
I make that motion.
What motion?
Second.
To close the
Second,
close the meeting?
Close the
All right, we
meeting.
have a motion and a second on the table to close the meeting. Thank you, have a good night.